A war without bullets. In the sun-scorched northern plains of Oduma, the people lived under the grip of terror. Insurgents moved like spirits, raiding villages, burning schools, abducting children, and vanishing into the forests. Fear ruled the land, and hope was fading. But Oduma had warriors, brave, loyal, and willing to die for the land. Young soldiers, many barely out of training, held rusty rifles with pride, patrolling borders, escorting villagers, and defending the soil. Leading them was Captain Danladi, a man of few words but firm convictions. Though the soldiers gave their all, the war seemed unwinnable. Each time they gained ground, each time an insurgent camp was discovered, something strange happened. Calls for airstrikes would go unanswered. The Air Force, even when alerted early, came hours late, sometimes days after the insurgents had vanished. At other times, no strike instruction came at all, even when targets were clear. The troops began to whisper. Their maps were correct, their bravery undoubted, yet help never came when it mattered most. Then came the death of General Kura, a seasoned commander who had quietly gathered files, photographs, and secret audio of how weapons meant for the army were being sold to the same insurgents they were sent to destroy. General Kura had decided to go public. A day before his planned press briefing, he was shot dead in what was called a robbery. But those close to him knew better, his documents vanished, and his phones were wiped clean. Fear spread in the barracks. A few weeks later, tragedy struck again. Flight Officer Zara, a courageous female pilot, known for responding swiftly to distress calls from soldiers, missed her daily check-in. She was found dead in her apartment. The official report said gas leak. But her neighbors heard a scuffle that night, and her personal diary, where she recorded denied airstrike missions, was missing. Captain Danladi, still at the front lines, grew restless. Every time his unit located an insurgent camp and sent coordinates, the command center would delay. Sometimes, orders never came. And when they came, the Air Force was either low on fuel or awaiting clearance. It became clear, they were fighting a war that someone didn't want them to win. One exhausted evening after another failed mission, Captain Danladi addressed his men. Greater than this is not a war against insurgents alone. There is a hand that feeds the fire, a shadow that whispers to our enemies while we bleed. We carry guns, but our backs are exposed. A few nodded in silent agreement. Others looked down, afraid. One night, a wounded insurgent was captured after a failed ambush. Bleeding and gasping, he told Danladi. Greater than you are brave, Captain. But you chase shadows. We are protected by those who send you here. Danladi sent a discreet message to a journalist in the capital, detailing the betrayals, the delayed airstrikes, the mysterious deaths, the silencing of voices like General Kura and Officer Zara. 3 days later, Danladi was removed from his post and sent to a remote, inactive station. Rumors spread that he was being watched. Still, he did not keep silent. He began to speak in hushed gatherings, warning village leaders and youth. Greater than Oduma is not cursed by terrorists. She is wounded by betrayal. Her soldiers are lions, but their chains are held by cowards in gold robes. Slowly, the truth began to leak. A secret report emerged from a whistleblower. It revealed how funds meant for military weapons were diverted. Photos of luxury homes owned by men who had never fought a battle went viral. The people began to talk. The drummers who once sang of peace started whispering about injustice. And though change came slowly, it came. Because the land of Oduma finally understood. A soldier's courage means nothing when the enemy sits at the same table as his commander.